It's a great day. My name is Che Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to empower. Our mission is to inspire. And our mission to provide you, that's right, you, the hard-working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Dr. Tamirah. Did I get it right?
Tamirah.
Tamirah, I can say Tamirah. Dr.
Yeah,
Tamirah, she's in the building.
Tia and Tamirah. Tia and Tamirah.
Tia
The
and
two
Tamirah,
twin
Dr.
sisters.
Tamirah,
Yeah,
Dr.
Tia and
Tamirah, who's in the building. And she's going to be talking about what
Yeah.
I need to do, reinventing myself. She said, you can start anywhere, so I can get this right. Dr. Tamirah, got it. How are
There
you
you
doing?
go. I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for being here. And thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in, by the way. We know you have other options and you're here with us right now. So thank you so much. Dr. Tamirah, before we get started, I'm curious. Well, people can read about your bio. We'll get to that in a minute. And certainly they can see that we're talking about reinventing yourself. You can start anywhere. But here's my question. Reinventing means different things to different people. When you use the word
Yes.
reinventing, what does that mean? And what does it even look like these days?
Well, reinventing is basically giving yourself permission to start over in whatever capacity it is, whether it could be in retirement. What do you do now that you're not going to the job every day? Or, a lot of people have lost their jobs over the years. Companies have closed down or, outsourced overseas. And so now what do you do? Do you start a new career? Some people go back to school, pick up a trade or something like that. So it's basically giving yourself permission to begin again. And anytime that you decide that that's what you want to do, you can give yourself permission to do so. And it doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter, whether you're male or female, married, divorced, kids, no kids. You are in control of your own life, and you can decide if you want to do things differently.
Wow, I love it. You can make that decision. Well, let me
Yes.
ask a question. Why do people struggle these days, just from your view of the world? I'm curious on starting over or just even reinvent themselves. It seems to me that they can go to AI these days and just type in, I need to do something different with my health. And AI gives them everything they need to do, right? They can
Well,
turn on a YouTube video or go to
yeah.
TikTok these days and say, hey, give me a little motivation. So from your
Mhm.
perspective, why do people struggle with just starting over and reinventing themselves? What's holding them
I
back?
think that I think that people truly stay comfortable and cozy in what's familiar to them. I think that change requires uh, uncharted waters and territories sometimes, and some people don't want to take that leap of faith to do that because they're so stuck in a zone and comfortable with the way that they've always done things. It takes a lot to go against the norm or what's expected of you and make that decision that you're going to begin again.
That's spot on. We're gonna get into her background, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna find out who she is. But I do have a question. What do you say to the person? We'll pick any one. We can talk about health. We'll talk about finances. Let's talk about finances.
Yes.
Let's say the person that had a setback, had to file bankruptcy. I've been there, ladies and gentlemen. I know I'm the only one that's had these problems. Okay, so I'll just say me. And I had to do that, and it's very difficult to try to get back in the game. You feel like it's never going to happen. What do you say to the person that's been hit with the punch they never saw coming in their finances or in a relationship, and they're feeling a little down right now? Like, man, they're so embarrassed. And I know I was totally embarrassed, by the way. I just felt like I was the only one. What do you say to that person that's watching right now?
I believe that there comes a period in a person's life, in every person's life, that they experience setbacks. And I think that each and every person has to dig deep within themselves because I remember talking to my best friend and she was going through a divorce and she had to do a lot of things differently. She had, never in her adult life had to live alone. She was married young, teenage years. And it was a new beginning for her to have to do everything all over again. And one thing that she said always stuck with me. And she said, I realized that no one was going to come to save me. So I had to save myself. So you're going to have to realize that at some point, you are the steward over your life. You are responsible for the decisions that you've made, or sometimes inadvertently things happen that you didn't plan for. But at some point, you've got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and dig deep into the faith that God has placed inside of you and trust Him that everything happens for a reason. Things come at different seasons. And no matter what is thrown your way, you truly can overcome those things. But you have to be willing to make that change and make the decision that you're going to go after that.
I like it. Make a decision, go after it, take the action. I want to come and put a pin in that because I want to come back to see why do people procrastinate when they know they should do certain things. Again, it's a loaded question, ladies and gentlemen, because it's not a counseling session, okay? So we don't want you to sit on the
Right.
couch here, but she might have some ideas on why people procrastinate.
Right.
But first, before we do that, let's find out who she is. Some of you are like, shit, I didn't read her bio. Others like, shit, that bio was so long, I didn't get a chance to get to it myself. I need the abbreviated version. So who is Dr. T? What's her backstory and what led her to doing what she's doing now? We're all curious. Talk to us.
Well, okay, I am the oldest of three girls, and my dad always taught us to be willing to go it alone if you have to, but you definitely want to put God at the center of everything that you do, and that's what I had to do. My parents have been gone for 15 years now, and I find myself, even like everybody else, having to have reinvented myself even as far back as 2020 when COVID hit and we were, on the quarantine and things like that. So I developed a product line about almost 20 years ago, doing designer candles. But the chemist that I was working with, we just could not get the fragrance as strong as I would like it to be. So I shelved it. And then during the pandemic, we were in church one night. We had a young lady that was our guest. She was talking about some different things that happened along the way and how she had this project with the perfume line and what she did to get that thing off the ground and started. And as she was saying that, the Holy Spirit was speaking to me, and He said, "Pull your project back off the shelf." Now, this time around, I was able to do things at the aid of Google University. Um, all these platforms on social media have these interest groups that you can join and find help for the questions and stuff that you need. We also have YouTube University. As you were saying before, you can go to YouTube and learn some different things. So for me, it really helped me to be able to um, dig into those things, and the ideas just started flowing and just pouring out. And I just decided at that point that I was going to go ahead and start my company all over again. Now, see, most people didn't know, but I got my doctorate back in 2022. And the company that I worked for downsized the day before graduation, and 75% of us were let go. So I was let go the day before I graduated and got my doctorate. And it was like God was sending me a message to say, launch out into the deep and don't be afraid. Like how Nike says, just do it.
Yes, yes.
Sometimes your back is against the wall and you don't really have a choice but to just do it. But for me, to answer your question, what you said a little bit earlier about why people procrastinate, I think the number one reason why people procrastinate is fear. They're afraid of doing something. They're afraid of going into uncharted territory. And for me, when I was working, I was the one who, when I launched my company, I was the one who financed everything. I've never taken out a loan to do any of the stuff that I did. I self financed. I drew from my savings. I made sure that I had my materials to work with as well as do the inventory. So it's a little bit scary. It can be when you're faced with a situation like I was, where I was, dependent, so to say, on my own resources to finance my company. Once that happened and the job was gone, I didn't have anything else to fall back on. So I think that was my reasoning, but it's also a lot of other people's reasonings as well. It's the fear of the unknown that keeps people stuck in a shell.
Fear of the unknown. But here's what you were able to do. you're able to take action even in the
Yes,
face of fear. And I guess the point I'm trying to make to the audience is that some people think that both have to be together, and they don't. Like
they
you can be
don't.
fearful and still go do it. Like you could be
Exactly.
terrified and still do it. But then once they do it, a challenge that I know I've struggled with, and again, I'm just going to talk about Shay Brown. Maybe it relates to somebody watching out there. Is the
Uh-huh.
consistency part. So once they start doing it, consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. Consistency, I believe, is the key. And having said that, what do most people struggle with most? I believe it's consistency, at least me, Shay
Yes.
Brown. So what do you say to the person who says, I need to be consistent? I like what I'm hearing. What is your secret, or what do you share with your clients so they can be consistent at what they do so they
Hmm.
can get the results? Although they feel like taking baby steps, they're steps in the right direction. Does that make sense?
Right. It does. It does. It makes dollars. So, so the thing is, there's a scripture that says, "He who is faithful over that which is least, I will make him ruler over much." And so, all these testimonies that you hear about people just like you and I, we're no different than the rest of them, and they're no different than we are when they met obstacles. The object is to stay consistent. So you're posting every day, and nobody's liking your stuff. You don't have enough followers. All those kind of things happen. You keep on doing it. I remember Tabitha Brown saying how she would get on and she would do her broadcast, and it would be nobody watching, but she would act as if there's 100,000 people online watching her. You have to be consistent. I mean, even in Habakkuk, the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verses 2 and 3, it tells you, write your vision down and make it plain. And the next part is so important, so that he who sees it will run with it. If you're not consistent, they don't, and they come by to see it and you're not there, there's nothing to run with. So you show up for you. If nobody else is there to show up for you, you got to show up for you. And you staying consistent, the word promise you that it will surely come to pass if you don't give up. I mean, that is it's a spiritual law. So if you continue in the things that he entrusted you to, it will come to pass. There's always going to be a lot of opposition when you're trying to get there. But once you get in the rhythm of things and you stay consistent, there's something about that spiritual law where you show God, I can be entrusted with what you have given me. And then he opens that floodgate. But when the floodgate opens, guess what? The other second part of that is you got to be ready. You've got to be ready, because now you're going to go to the next level. And if you're not ready to go to the next level, that can mean the difference in what you're doing ever prospering.
Have you always had this level of confidence? And if so, where did it come from?
I think that when you're learning and you're walking by faith and not by sight, um, your confidence is not in you. My confidence is always in the one that I serve. It's in the Most High God. In it's not in myself, because He's faithful and He says that He watches over His words to perform them. So if He promised it and He says that all my promises are yes and amen, you can take that part to the bank. So even when there's been times where my mind wanted to doubt, would it ever happen, or my mind would start telling me things that were negative, or things that would possibly keep me from entering into my promised land, I always had to reflect back and go back to what God has said, because His word is infallible. And that's what I draw from. It doesn't make me any different from anybody else as far as the fear or anything else. Fear comes to all of us, but we have a choice where we could tap into the fear and accept the fear, or we can rise above that. I choose to rise above that.
I love it. What does success look like for you these days? What does it feel like?
Success for me is completing something that I start and getting the results that I want, and even exceeding those results. That's what success looks for me. I no longer, and I used to, and I think a lot of us get caught up in this. I don't compare myself to where somebody else on a like path or a similar journey might be. They might be light years ahead of me, but their walk is their walk and mine is mine. And As long as I stay consistent in doing what I need to do, I set goals and achieve those goals, then I have my own success. I measure my success against my goals and not what somebody else is doing.
I love it. And how do you balance it all? You hear a number of folks, and this is a question like, how do you find? I guess the question is, do you find time for self care for yourself? And the reason I ask that question, and here's the context: the number of folks that watch on the show, they're dualpreneurs. They work a full time job. They're a full time entrepreneur, and they're like, Shay, I'm very busy. How did she do
Yes.
this without feeling guilty, taking away from other people? Oh, Shay, by the way, I have a husband or I have a wife. Or, hey, Shay, by the way, let her know that I'm a caregiver, like I am as well. I got to care for other folks. Shay, can you let her know that I have kids? Okay. And my kids have a schedule. So I'm all in with their stuff. Oh, by the way, let her know I'm also involved in my community or in this faith project over there. And I noticed that she's doing a whole lot of stuff over here. So the question is, number one, not for me, but probably for them watching this, does she find time for self-care? Number one. And number two, how does she not feel guilty? Like, because people are depending on her and she's taking time for herself.
You have to find time for self care or you'll burn out. I mean, I've been there and I've done that. And, I think that I can speak for the masses because I am divorced. I am a mother of five. I'm a grandmother of five. I'm deeply invested into my children and my grandchildren's lives and still invested in what they're doing with their businesses and what I'm doing with mine. So I think that you have to take that time to slow down sometimes, to get the proper amount of rest. Make sure that you eat. Have a spa day if that's what you want to do. Go get your nails done, get your hair done, things like that that keep you feeling special and relevant. And you have to spend time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, or it stops being fun if that's all you do is just pour into the work and you never take time to enjoy. There's a reason why somebody came up with that saying, stop and smell the roses, because we can always have the roses. When I have roses, I try to preserve my roses because I love flowers, especially roses and tulips. But if you don't, in a few days, they're gone, right? In a few days, those kids, it seems like a few days. My grandson just turned 17 yesterday. I can remember when he was just born. You have to stop. I mean, you have to stop and take that time to enjoy this life that God has given you. I remember I was probably in my late 30s, early 40s when I still had my mom with me and my dad. And I remember I was chasing, so they say, the bag. My kids were growing up. I missed out on a lot. I missed out on, plays and things, football games, basketball games. I missed out on a lot of stuff and I can't get that back. But I remember one day my mother said, Tam, I want you to stop and slow down. She says, you pay for a house that you never are even at home to enjoy because all you ever do is work. And so you know how they say, what would your older self tell your younger self? Well, that's one of the things that I can pour into people and I pour into my people. You've got to take time to maintain you. First and foremost, before you're a steward of all these other things, God says you're an earthen vessel that I place my treasure inside of. So you've got to maintain and take care of you. You got to make sure that you eat right. You got to make sure that you're getting enough fluid and that you're getting enough sleep at night. You can't just run yourself ragged and run yourself into the ground where you're at the brink of a nervous breakdown. And then who's going to service your business or anything else that you've got going on with your family, you know. So self-care is so important. I think the problem becomes is people start feeling guilty, like they're being prideful or they're worshiping themselves. It's not about self-worship. It's not about anything like that. But you have to be functioning fully at 100% to be able to give your best to everything else that you're doing and to the people that you're investing in.
I love it. And one of my questions I love to ask when we have some time now, is what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? And I like to frame it for the audience because you've got a background, okay? I'm not asking you to come off the mountain with the 10 commandments here. But you've had a lot of mentors, you read a lot of books, a lot of
Yeah.
trainings. You probably sat in more classes than you can even remember these days, by the way. But if you had to step back and say, man, here's one of the best pieces of advice that was given to me that I want to pass to the audience, what would that advice be and why?
My best advice has always been since the time I was a little girl, coming from my grandparents, and then passing the reins to my parents when my father became a minister and was involved in ministry. That's always been for us to trust God first. That has always been the foundation for everything else that I do, is to trust God. When things look impossible, I have trusted God, and I have gotten favorable outcomes. I mean, we could sit here all night and I could tell you of testimonies of impossibility that nobody ever would ever think was even possible to happen. So I would always say, trust God, love people, but trust God and trust yourself. You are capable. He wouldn't entrust you to everything that He's placed on the inside of you if He didn't feel that you could, take care of what He entrusted you with. So trust God and know that when people say they had your back, they don't always have your back, but God's always got your back.
Always, man. That's I
Always.
like that. It's priceless. What does
Mhm.
success look like for you these days? What does it feel like for you?
I think being able to give to people, which is a passion of mine, I like seeing other people succeed. I like bringing women together and helping them succeed in businesses and collaborating. I believe that when I see us changing the norm, the crabs in the barrel type mentality of being pitted against one another, but helping people realize the potential that they have and seeing their differences and knowing that there's strength in numbers. That is what I really feel like I've accomplished when I can bring a group of women together and we can successfully work together to get things accomplished and help build each other up instead of tearing each other down. Huge success.
Yeah, that's very important. And I met you through an event, and it was a collaboration event. And one of the things I like to share is that collaboration kind of crushes competition. When you're looking to
Mhm.
collaborate or with someone else, or give your support to someone else and help them do what they're doing, what type of collaboration partners do you look for? What's important to you when you're giving your time, talent, and treasure to help support an
Mhm.
organization? What do you look for?
Well, what I would say, and what I do say to my clients, is over the years, you have to really pick and choose the projects that you want to be a part of. I'm looking for people that it's not just one sided where I'm feeding all of everything that I have into something, but you're gatekeeping. That doesn't work for me. I truly want people that are in it to where we help one another and we build something solid. So that's generally what I'm looking for. I'm also looking for people that are like minded, that have empires in their minds, that want to do things. They want to do extraordinary things. And they sometimes just don't have a roadmap to know where to start or how to do it. And then I get joy with laying a pathway for them and being able to execute that alongside of them. They got to do the work because I got my own work to do, but I'm there to coach and to guide them along the way. So those are the kind of things that I look for. I look for people that are serious about what they want to do because none of us have any time to waste anymore.
Yeah. What do you do for fun when you're not out saving the world, helping people in the financial arena, helping them with their health, helping with their mental health? What do you do for fun these days?
You know what? Fun for me, I'm a very, very simple person. I mean, I like the finer things in life just like anybody else would. But I'm a people watcher. When I lived in Chicago, one of the most favorite things I like to do was to go to Lake Michigan and sit on the grassy knoll and watch people enjoying life, riding their bikes and, you know, bicycling up and down the coast and, watch the runners and people relating with their animals, stuff like that. But I like to go to food festivals, music festivals. I like trying new restaurants and getting an idea of different types of cuisine. I like to travel when I can. Places where I can go where it's serene and I can get relaxation away from the norm. Those are kind of the kind of things that I like to do in my off time. And I like spending time with my grandkids.
No surprise there, huh? That's kind of cool. As we come down the home stretch, a two-part question. Number one, what type of clients are you looking to work with these days, if any? I'm not sure if your firm's taking on any clients. And number two, where can people connect with you? Like, man, I like what I'm hearing, Shay. Is there a website? Should I go on social media? Like, how do I stay in contact with this person over and beyond the time that you and she have right now?
Okay. Well, my brand is a lifestyle brand. So it just think lifestyle. And those are the things I do, whether it is being a small catering, meal prepping for people that have dietary restrictions or people that want to plan like a special event, like a proposal or anniversary dinner with a family and stuff like that. I do a little chefing. I'm a self-taught chef. I also am an event designer. So any kind of event that you can think of. I even had somebody once ask me to put together a trade show. So we're doing weddings, we're doing, all those kind of things. I do staging because I have been in the real estate and mortgage industry for over 20 years. So I utilize everything with financing for commercial lending as well as residential. But that even extends to the realtor properties, some of the spec homes or just some of their model homes. I stage those. I stage offices, people's homes personally, as well as sets for like people doing talk shows or podcasts or things like that. I come in and do things like that. I am a public speaker, and an MC. So if somebody wanted to have me host an event, I have years of training in media and worked in both radio and TV for things like that. Um, and so anything that involves lifestyle, somebody trying to map out what they do next after a divorce, how they get their lives together with their career or want to start a business, anything like that, they can connect with me. I am on all social media with the exception of Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook as Dr. Tamirah Leigh Terry. Tamirah spelled Tamirah, Lee, Leigh, and then Terry, Terry. And then also on TikTok as Lady Doctor Tamirah Leigh. And I also have the business pages as well that they can go to if they want to look at some of my products. Like I mentioned before, I do designer candles and I do designer forever flower boxes. So that would be the best way. Now, if they want to directly email me, they can reach me at T as in Tom, L as in Larry, L as in Larry, D as in dog, Chicago at gmail.com. Those are the best ways to get a hold of me.
Well, let me say thank you so much for being on the Happy
Mm-hmm.
Entrepreneur Show. Can't wait to see you again. I can't wait to have you again on the show. We appreciate you. I know you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. And you give us the most precious resource you have, which is your time. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Can't wait to connect with you again soon.
It was a pleasure to be here, and I'm so thankful that you asked me to be your guest, and I'm looking forward to the next time.
Thank you. And thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in, by the way, because without you, well, we don't have a show. So I never get tired of reminding you every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, no matter what's going on in your life, whether you're going on the fast lane right now to that next level of success, or you've been hit with the punch that you never saw coming. The one thing I do know is that today is your January 1st. You get a fresh start. You get a do-over. And because of just that one reason, your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name is Shay Brown, host of the Happy Entrepreneur Show. Make it a great day, everyone. We out of here. Thanks a lot, Dr. T in the building. Peace, everybody. We out.